All right, check this out. Do you remember what last week's word was? Remember, no Braveheart jokes allowed. Do you remember what last week's word was? This week's word is if you do it right and you have enough of it, you'll get more of last week's word. What? That's right. This week's word is something that you need to do. It's something that you want to have. It's also something that you might even get every now and again. It's a noun and it's a verb. What do you think it is? What do you think this week's word possibly could be? And there's a big dichotomy attached to it. Hey everybody, David Bradley here, Senior Sales and Marketing Manager with Grant Cardone. This is the Wednesday Word, and I am your host of the Wednesday Word. Again, one more time for good measure, because why wouldn't you want to say your name over and over again? I'm David Bradley, Senior Sales and Marketing Manager. What do we do on the Wednesday Word? Here's what we do on the Wednesday Word. We take words, we break them down. We look at the definition, we look at the etymology, the history of it, the derivation of the words, where these words came from, and we look at how to take these words and then plug them right into your sales and your business and your life. That is the purpose. Words are, one of the first lessons I learned from Grant Cardone was that selling is a conversation and power comes from the words that you use. I learned that lesson towards the end of 2003. It literally changed the way I viewed myself as a sales professional and how I approached my customers. So understanding the words that you have is also understanding the power that you have. Because if selling is a conversation and power comes from the words that you use, you need to know them words so you can use them right. So let's get into today's word, which is what? Did you figure it out already? I'll give it to you right now. This week's word is discipline. Yeah, that's right, discipline. Now, this word is a noun and it's a verb. Let me just break down these definitions for you. I'm going to turn my head over here so I can read them to you. Definition. The noun piece of that is what? The practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. The second definition would be the controlled behavior resulting from discipline. Third, activity or experience that provides mental or physical training. A system of rules or conduct, a branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education. So that is the noun, that is the person, place, or thing that makes up discipline. But remember, it is also something that you do. It is a verb, it is an action. Okay, so that would mean to train someone to obey rules or a code of behavior, using punishment to correct disobedience, 50 shades of whatever. I know you went there. Punish or rebuke someone formally for an offense or offense. Train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. So what we want to focus on are two main ones. One specific out of the noun, one specific out of the verb. Let's talk about those for a moment. On the noun side of things, let's go with the last one. A branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education. Now, what line of work are you in? Now, most likely, if you've tripped into me and you're listening to the Wednesday Word, and you're following Grant Cardone, there's a really good chance that you're in sales. There's a really good chance that you're an entrepreneur. There's a really good chance that you're looking to be a better version of you. And if that is the case, what is your discipline? What is your branch of knowledge? What are you studying? It's all higher education. So, are you in sales? That is your discipline. Are you in leadership as a manager of a sales organization? That is your discipline. Being a doctor is a discipline. Being a martial artist is a discipline. Being a sales professional, being an entrepreneur, it is a discipline. So what does that mean? Well, let's get into the etymology real quick. The etymology of discipline would be, it's Latin, disciplina, I'm saying that right, but it means instruction. It means knowledge. Comes from discipulus or disciple, right? Remember that guy from 2,000 years ago? We just celebrated his resurrection. We celebrate his birth in December. He had 12 of those. Disciple. So if you're a disciple of something, it means you are a student thereof and you are learning. So what are you a disciple of? Are you a disciple of sales? Yes? Disciple of business. Grant is still a disciple of sales. I'm still a disciple of sales, right? What else could you be a disciple of? What's your discipline? Now, when we go over to the verb action of discipline, and we look at train oneself to do something in a controlled or habitual way, you just getting out of bed early is a discipline and will require some discipline. If you're using one of our online training programs, Cardone University, for example, or Cardone On Demand, which we built out for the auto industry, if you're using that, regardless of whether or not you're in sales or management, it's going to require that you discipline yourself to log into that program and get after it every single day. If you're overweight and you would like to drop 10, 15, 20 pounds, or you're underweight and you want to put on 10, 15, or 20 pounds of muscle, that's going to require that you discipline yourself. So one of the great quotes from Grant, this has been a huge change for me, especially when it comes to discipline, is this: you are going to have to do the things that you don't want to do in order to have the things that you do want to have. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to get uncomfortable, and that is going to require what? Discipline. And since we're on the subject of discipline, and since we're on the subject of leadership, and since we're on the subject of being a disciple and a student, there is the last chapter in a very, very powerful book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. The last chapter is the dichotomy of discipline and last week's word, which was what? Freedom. And the more discipline you can put in on yourself, the more freedom you will have. And I'm not going to explain that to you. I want you to spend real quality time this week working through that dichotomy. Discipline equals freedom. I want you to think on it. I want you to understand it. I know what it means to me, but what it means to me is totally relevant because this is about you. And what does it mean to you? So that's the first action idea that I want you to take with you into this week is discipline equals freedom. What the hell does that mean? And how does that plug into or get incorporated into your life, into your world? So with that being said, here's some action ideas to take that with you and get more out of it. Okay. Number one, what are your disciplines now? Are you in sales? Are you in management? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you in business? Do you own a company? Based on that, what is your disciplines? What are you studying? What are you a disciple of in that area? Okay. And then second thing is, what do you need more discipline in? Do you need more discipline in your work life, in your personal life, in your physical life, in your spiritual life? Where do you need a little bit more discipline? Okay. Or a lot, maybe, right? So where do you need more discipline in your life? And then the final thing is, what are you a student of? What are you truly a student of? And if you have any doubts or any uncertainties about what your disciplines are, what you're a student of, where you could put more discipline into your life, just inventory your day. Just look at what you did today or yesterday, and you'll immediately know where your actual true priorities lie, and then you can make some decisions about how much discipline you need to put in on yourself to get that straightened out. Okay, so last thing though, remember, discipline equals freedom. What does that mean? Think about it. Put some real quality effort on it, and then come back and find me. Whether you find me on Twitter, whether you find me here on the Facebook or on YouTube or whatever it is that you encounter this. Let me know what it means to you now after you've put 7 days hard thought into discipline equals freedom. Okay? This has been the Wednesday Word. I'm your host, David Bradley. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here every single week. And last but not least, in the words of Grant Cardone, in the words of the Uncle G, be great, because nothing else pays. See you soon.